This small camper van hides a full double bed that drops from the ceiling, a U-shaped lounge that seats 5, and a wet bath you can actually move in. It comes from Spain, and it might just be the only camper van you'll ever need. But is it too good to be true? Let's find out.
Motorhome luxury.
Meet the Nomade Nation Neospace. Starting at the front, Nomade has kept things clean and elegant. No unnecessary attachments, no over-engineered equipment. You get what you need: a big windshield, 2 powerful LED headlights, and 2 smaller assistive lights that'll make sure you have proper visibility on the road. In the center, there's a small grille with the Fiat logo, because the Neospace sits on the tried and tested Fiat Ducato chassis, the same platform that half of Europe's camper vans are built on. It's strong, durable, and easy to maintain. Speaking of the Ducato, let's talk about what's under this hood. The Neospace comes with a 2.2-liter diesel engine with 2 power options: a 140 horsepower model with a manual transmission, or the 180 horsepower variant paired with an automatic. Obviously, the latter will cost a bit more. With either option, you can handle mountain passes, narrow coastal roads, and long highway stretches without breaking a sweat. Let's now head to the passenger side. The focus instantly goes to these 16-inch alloy wheels, good for different road surfaces and seasons, and offering solid control in tight spots. Now, here's where things get interesting. The Nomade Nation Neospace measures only 19.6 feet in length, 6.7 feet in width, and 8.3 feet in height. To put that in perspective, it's shorter than a standard parking space. You can drive this through narrow European village streets, park it at the supermarket, and reach places where those big 40-footers can only dream of going. But here's the question everyone asks. In something this compact, won't the interior feel cramped? If that's what you're thinking, you have no idea what's coming, because the interior packs a U-shaped lounge for 5 people and a bed that appears out of thin air, but we'll get to that magic trick later. For now, let's keep moving along the passenger side. The passenger door, a window, and a powered side mirror sit right above the wheel, giving you access to the cab. Moving further back, there's a sliding door that serves as the primary entrance for the living area, and it comes with a clever feature we'll check out when we step inside. Just above the sliding door, take a look at the awning that extends from the side. Whether it's a warm morning beside a river or a cool evening in the mountains, you can unfurl this awning, pull up a chair, and sit with your family. That's the kind of experience you buy a camper van for. Now let's head to the back of this camper van, because this is where things start to get really interesting. As you move to the rear of the Neospace, you see a clean, modern rear panel with a double-door configuration, a couple of small windows, a reversing camera, and the necessary taillights. Sounds pretty standard, right? But the moment you open those double doors, everything changes. Behind them sits a full rear lounge setup, a U-shaped sofa, adjustable table, big windows on both sides. In a camper van under 20 feet, just try to wrap your head around that this is Spanish engineering at its finest. But we'll not talk about the lounge in detail yet, because what happens above it is even more impressive. That's coming later. For now, notice the sliding fly screen doors that protect you from mosquitoes and flies when the rear doors are open. Just beneath the rear sofa, there's storage space for tables, chairs, or extra luggage. But that's not all. You can even remove the rear sofa seat entirely and use the whole space for bulky gear. A barbecue setup, extra cushions, camping equipment, whatever you need. Let's move up to the roof, because this is where the Neospace starts pulling away from the competition. The optional Adventure and Ultimate packs include a 200-watt solar panel mounted up top, feeding into a 100-ampere-hour lithium-ion battery, a 500-watt inverter, and a control panel that shows you exactly where your power stands. And if that's not enough, you can upgrade the batteries to 540 ampere hours, the solar panels to 400 watts, and install a 2,000-watt inverter. Most camper vans in this size class don't even come close to that kind of off-grid capability. With that kind of power backup, you can live off-grid for weeks without worrying about finding a hookup. Now, let's come down and walk along the driver's side. The Neospace stores up to 42 gallons of fresh water and 24 gallons of gray water numbers you'd expect from a much larger motorhome. The fresh water inlet is right here on this side, next to the removable toilet cassette that slides out for easy waste disposal. Further along, there's the option to install an external shower with hot and cold water. Imagine parking on top of a hill and rinsing off right out in the open. That's a level of freedom most camper vans simply don't offer. The exterior already impresses with its compact size, off-grid power, and that jaw-dropping rear lounge. But if you think that's good, wait until you see how they've used every inch of the interior. Especially the rear section. It genuinely makes you wonder how they packed all of this into under 20 feet. Let's step in. Stepping inside the Neo space, you immediately notice something is different. This is not your typical campervan layout. The interior feels fresh, thought through, and surprisingly open. Despite being a 19.6-foot camper, remember, shorter than a parking space, the Neo space genuinely feels like a small apartment. It's hard to believe you're standing inside something you just parked at the supermarket. Let's start with the sliding entrance door. It comes with a mosquito net and electrical assistive steps that fold out automatically, so no rickety pull-out steps, no struggling to climb in. If mobility is a concern, that's a big deal. Right in front of the main entrance, there's a cabinet housing a 2-burner stove with the option to add a microwave oven and even an espresso machine. Even without those extras, there's plenty of storage beneath the stove. But here's the smart part. How do you actually cook in here? On the left side of the entrance, there's a proper kitchen island with a sink and faucet. The island gives you real counter space for chopping, prepping, and serving not just a tiny strip you can barely fit a cutting board on. To connect the island and the stove cabinet, there's a foldable countertop that bridges the two and gives you even more workspace. For a campervan this size, the kitchen setup is genuinely impressive. But hold on, there's something missing here. Did you notice? No oven, no grill. If you're someone who loves cooking full meals on the road, that's a real trade-off compared to campervans like the Chasson X550, which comes with both. The Neo space bets on simplicity and counter space instead of full cooking power. Whether that works for you depends on how you like to camp. Let us know in the comments, would you miss an oven? Or is a 2-burner stove enough? But the surprises aren't over. See this countertop beside the stove? You can lower it and access a sliding door to create a pass-through between the living area and the cab. Imagine it's pouring rain outside, and you don't want to step out just to get to the driver's seat. This pass-through solves that instantly. Now, one of the most common questions with compact camper vans. How's the bathroom? In most vans this size, you get a claustrophobic booth where you can barely turn around. Not here. The Neo space comes with a full wet bath, sitting opposite the kitchen island. Yes, it's a wet bath shower and toilet share the same space. But unlike most wet baths in this class, this one actually gives you room, storage for your toiletries, and enough space to use the shower without bumping your elbows against the walls. Now, is it as spacious as the full-width rear bathroom in the Chasson X550? No, it's not. But for a van this compact, it's one of the better wet baths we've seen. You get a functional bathroom that doesn't eat up half the campervan for a couple or a solo traveler. That's exactly the right balance. One of the standout design choices in this campervan is the storage solution. Instead of cramming cabinets into every corner and making the interior feel cluttered, the designers installed sleek sidewall compartments with sliding doors. They're deep, secure, and practically invisible when closed. Smart. All right, we've seen the kitchen, the bathroom, and the storage. Everything so far has been solid. But now, let's get to the part that makes the Neo space truly special, the rear section. And this is where things get wild. This isn't your typical campervan bedroom. At first glance, the rear houses a full lounge configuration. A comfortable U-shaped sofa wraps around an adjustable table in the middle, creating a dining setup that can seat 4 to 5 people at a time. In a van under 20 feet, let that sink in. On both sides, there are big windows flooding the space with natural light, plenty of storage, and warm ambient lighting that lifts the whole mood. The table adjusts in height and can be completely removed if you need more open space. You're looking at a rear lounge that wouldn't feel out of place in a motorhome twice this size. It's hard to believe this fits inside a van you can park in a normal spot. But where's the bed? Look around, there's no bed anywhere in sight. No folded mattress, no pull-out frame, nothing. So where did it go? Well, look up. It's hidden in the ceiling. Here's how it works. There's a key beside the control panel. Rotate it, hold it for a few seconds, and watch a full double bed descends electrically from the ceiling, smooth and silent, right above the lounge. One moment you have a living room, the next you have a bedroom. No manual folding, no rearranging cushions, no 10-minute setup routine. Just turn a key and your bed floats down from above. If you've seen our video on the Chasson X550, you know how impressive a drop-down bed can be. But here's what the NeoSpace does differently. Instead of lowering the bed over a converted dinette, it lowers directly over a full U-shaped lounge that stays intact underneath. That means you don't lose your seating when the bed comes down in the morning. Raise the bed and your lounge is right there, ready to go. No reassembly needed. This is so much smarter than a fixed bed that permanently eats up your living space, or a traverse bed that you have to wrestle into position every night. Here, you get both a full lounge and a full bed in the same footprint, and switching between them takes seconds. No compromises. In a van under 20 feet. That's the kind of engineering that makes you wonder why more brands aren't doing this. Now, let's peek into the driver's cab. Step forward from the living area and you're in the familiar Fiat Ducato cockpit. It's no-nonsense and functional, comfortable seats, a clear dashboard layout, and good forward visibility thanks to the large windshield and elevated seating position. With the reversing camera feeding to the screen, maneuvering this compact campervan into tight spots is a breeze. At its core, the NeoSpace still drives and handles like an everyday van, and that's one of its biggest advantages. Now that you've seen everything the NeoSpace has to offer, the U-shaped lounge, the drop-down bed, the functional wet bath, the clever kitchen layout, and that off-grid power setup, let's finally talk about the number you've been waiting for. The Nomade Nation NeoSpace starts at a base price of $86,000, going up to around $90,000 depending on the extras you choose. Now, is that cheap? No. But here's the context. American camper vans with similar features often start well above $100,000, and many of them can't match this level of innovation in a package this compact. For what you're getting, the lounge, the drop-down bed, the off-grid capability, this price actually makes sense. But remember that catch we mentioned at the start? Here it is. No oven, no grill, and the wet bath, while good for this size, isn't a full-width bathroom. If cooking and bathroom space are your top priorities, this might not be your camper van. But if you value a real lounge, a proper bed, and a van you can park anywhere, the NeoSpace is hard to beat. So, does the NeoSpace finally solve the classic campervan trade-off? Compact enough to drive anywhere, but spacious enough to actually live in? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see a campervan with gadgets from the future, check out the Heimer Venture S. Click on this video, and we'll see you soon with a new luxury motorhome.